All eyes on Skeleton Crew as we count down a couple of months here. December 3rd is the big premiere date for Skeleton Crew on Disney Plus. Our friends over at EW Online, they don't disappoint. They've got a couple of new photos that have dropped as they're looking at their, I guess this is part of maybe a fall preview or something along those lines.
Yeah.
And,
fall TV preview.
Fall TV preview. Boy, I remember the days with the TV guide. You remember the TV guide? The fall
God,
preview?
yes. Oh my God, such excitement.
Oh,
you know, get your first glimpse of season 20 of Happy Days. It was just so exciting.
But yeah, so they would always start off with returning favorites, and then you'd get the big fall preview with all the new shows and stuff like that. But yeah, very much interested and excited about Skeleton Crew. What'd they lay on us? Well, they laid on us a photo here. Talk about a rogues gallery of pirates. Check this out. Lots of characters here. Starting off with Vane. Now, Vane, we know from The Mandalorian. And then as we go across here, who else we got? We've got Gunter, played by Jaleel White.
Yeah.
That name sounds familiar to you. That's because he's better known in pop culture circles as Did I Do That? Urkel. Steve
Good old Urkel.
Yeah. So Jaleel White.
Steve Urkel from Family Matters.
Yeah.
What an icon, right? And so we knew, but we did know that he was going to appear in Skeleton Crew because last year, May 2023, he sat in on the broadcast. He visited the broadcast booth at an Edmonton Oilers game. And they asked him, hey, what are you up to next? And here's what he had to say.
What do you got coming up? Where will people see you?
Oh, wow. I'm actually going to be in a new series on Disney Plus starring Jude Law called Skeleton Crew. Yeah, it's coming out in November, December, and it's part of the Star Wars universe. So that's a big change for me, man. I have to do 2 hours of makeup every day. I get to play a pirate.
So, and as you can see in these photos, he definitely is a pirate of some sort, judging from that look. And he's hanging out with Vane.
Jimmy looks like is it Steel from the Superman comics where Superman gets turned into a various. I don't know. He has that kind of look to me.
Or not Steel. I think
is
you're
it not
thinking
Steel?
of
Who am I thinking of?
The Cyborg.
Cyborg. You're right.
Yeah.
Sorry, not Steel. Cyborg.
Cut from the same cloth. Really, they were all introduced in the Death of Superman comic books. Cyborg, Steel, Superboy, and then there was some other like weird Superman that was introduced in that era. Whatever happened to that weird Superman? I don't know. I think he turned into there was a Cyclops.
Bizarro? Bizarro Superman?
No, not the Cyclops. I'm thinking of the Cyborg.
Yeah, well,
that's
that's kind of what Jaleel White looks like here as Gunter.
Yeah, he's wearing a Star Wars-esque chest plate with a couple of Darth Vader-like buttons there that controls God knows what.
He's got a hose.
He's got the hoses, and that's good news. So this is probably some like breathing apparatus similar to the respirator that Darth Vader uses. But why does Jaleel White? What's the name of his character?
Gunter.
Oh my God, is he a Lobot? It looks like he's got some Lobot earwear there.
He's got the Lobot cans going on here.
He might be a Lobot. So. Move over, Lobot. Here comes Urkel,
and he's got like the Star Wars equivalent of an eye patch. So this is, or maybe this is a targeting device, or I don't know if he's just got this is to help him see. If this is Geordie LaForge, what do we got going on? But
Lobot cybernetics. Like I bet Lobot had one of those. They're like clip-on devices you put on your headset, and it covers your eye. He probably had that like in a drawer in his nightstand or something, just in case he needed it.
Just off camera.
So yeah, he's with the pirate Vane, and then Urkel, and then Wolfman.
Brutus.
Wolfman is there. What's his name?
His name is Brutus.
You know, that's the name of that's from Popeye, actually.
Sure is.
The original, I mean, we called him Bluto when we saw the Popeye cartoons, but in the old newspaper comic strips, he was known as Brutus. Also in the comic books, he was Brutus.
Right.
The cartoons, he was Bluto. And also, I think the Popeye video game from 1980, he was Bluto.
I had that on ColecoVision.
But Brutus now showing up in Star Wars, and it's that name for me that works within the realms of the Star Wars universe. I think we're long overdue to have a Brutus, and especially if it's a wolf man with red eyes,
God, I love
bounty pirate / bounty hunter, who knows. And look at the old style. He has 3 revolvers strapped to his chest. We assume they're blasters, but they have that old school curved handle.
Yeah, very Western.
It's like even before that, though. It's
like more like revolutionary time.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
like
yeah.
Right. You know, it like a musket if it was a blaster. I don't know, but,
musket blaster.
But that seems to be something consistent with a lot of these characters in these 2 stills that we have from the show. So this is a cool look at these characters. I hope action figures are forthcoming. I hope they don't cost $25 flipping dollars, Hasbro. You bend us over the barrel.
Well, there was a time, Jim, when a new Star Wars project that featured a gallery of characters like this, you knew you'd get. There was a time when you knew you're going to get all these guys. You're going to get them all. Now, the way it is, it's like you'd be lucky if you get one of these guys. Really?
It's a no-brainer if you ask me. There's legions of Star Wars collectors, and you're leaving money on the table by not continuing to service that area of fandom. And I don't understand what's going on between Lucasfilm and Hasbro with their ineptitude as far as keeping the action figure hobby alive. They want us all to buy those large size Black Series figures because they cost double the price of the smaller figures.
Not these days. When you're looking at a $25,
well, true,
3 3/4 inch, it's all over the map. There's no, it's crazy. Here's a 3 or 3 yees, a re-yees.
I think that's how they came up with his name. I think
so. But look at him. He's got an eye patch. He's missing one of his 3 eyes.
Wow. he's not seeing things in triplicate, and that's very bad for a Gran.
Yeah. This guy's name is Pax, by the way. Pax with a patch.
Yeah. So, okay. But yes, I would like to see action figures of these characters. I don't think it's that big of a request to make. I'm sure you guys make money off of it. I just don't get it. You guys do pre-orders, and then you leave so many people in the dust who don't get to sign up for the pre-orders because you shut them down so fast. Pre-order window is open 1 hour later. Pre-order window is closed. It's like, well, wait a second. These are pre-orders. Don't you want to use that as a device to measure demand for the actual product? If you're leaving people in the dust, what are you doing?
I got an idea. And I don't know why they haven't done this yet. I'm sure there's a reason, but they like to do this crowdfunding stuff. Hasbro Pulse. Jim, you've gotten a few items. I've gotten a couple of items from the Pulse. Why not do a whole wave of action figures? Forget the vehicle once. Do a whole wave of action figures as a Hasbro Pulse. That way you know whether or not there's enough people that want them. Can you imagine if you just offered all these guys as a Hasbro Pulse? I would do it. I would jump in. I don't know why they feel the need that it has to be some massive vehicle when really the majority of us just want to expand our collection of figures.
I've always supported the idea of a subscription service for the new, and you have a window of time where you can accept or decline. But I think that would be the way to do it. A subscription service. If you do this as a Hasbro Pulse, we'll be looking back at the days of $25 3 3/4 inch action figures with fondness.
Oh,
because
no.
all of a sudden, if they did it that way, they'd be charging $50 a figure.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, they're bending us over the barrel. It's price gouging. And Hasbro knows exactly what they're doing. But yet they're so stupid, they keep leaving so much money at the table by not satisfying a massive percentage of the actual people who will buy this stuff. People like me. Because you make it inaccessible.
There is hope.
With crappy production runs.
There is hope, because for the longest time, toy companies swore by their market research that they swore that the majority of buyers of toys were kids and gift givers. Right. And it's just been within the last year that they've admitted, I think this has been the truth for years, but they finally admitted that the majority of action figure buyers are adult collectors. It seems very obvious to us, but they kept saying, no, we gotta, it's gotta have action features and all this because of the kids. We're like, I'm sorry, I'm in the toy aisles. I don't see kids. On occasion, you'll see it, but very rarely. It's always people that look a lot like me in those toy aisles of Target and Walmart buying these figures. And so I'm hoping that now that they're admitting this, that they will hopefully right the ship and just produce stuff that is for their target audience, which should be now adult collectors. For good, bad, indifferent, who cares? The reality is that's who is buying this stuff.
The baseball card companies all pivoted to a mature collecting audience way back in the 80s. And that made the entire industry explode.
Yeah.
Why haven't toy manufacturers who satisfy an adult collecting demographic focused on that adult collecting demographic until now? It's really absurd. I mean, we were hearing that just 3 years ago. Well, it's only kids who buy toys. I don't think so. I don't think so. Do better market research. Well, our research says, no. Do better market research. Who are you asking? And also out of touch. And it's kind of a balancing act between Lucasfilm and Hasbro, because Lucasfilm has Hasbro by the short hairs, and they can't do anything without Lucasfilm approval. And Lucasfilm has very whacked marketing ideas these days. That's why a lot of their projects have failed, and that's why their toy lines are not as successful as they should be, is because Lucasfilm has whacked out marketing ideas these days. Inconsistent and lame. That's all I can say. Out of touch.
We've got one more character here, and you kind of just see about half the face. This is Chalt. It's Chaelt, played by Dale Soules. So that's the last character here in this lineup of pirates from Skeleton Crew. This is a pretty cool lineup of characters. I just say I don't want an action figure of Chelt. that character looks like an Uber driver. I don't need it. No offense to Uber drivers. I mean, a little plain, right? A little plain. Not all that exciting.
I don't know what I'm looking at when I look at Chelt, but it doesn't necessarily excite me in the slightest.
So this piece does. We do have some quotes in this from Christopher Ford. Of course, the show's created by John Watts and Christopher Ford. Talking about these characters. These are pirates, says Ford. Space pirates. Arr. And not just any space pirates, but that is none other than Urkel himself, Jaleel White. Admittedly, here, according to this article, looking like vaguely like a cyborg-esque as Gunter. And we did the rundown of the characters. Of course, Vane, who we've met. And all of these characters are, part of this whole scum and villainy type of character. You know, he talks about this is again Ford. He says pirates are talked about so much in Star Wars. People would call Han Solo a pirate. He'd be like, "How dare you?" And we've seen some awesome pirates in the animated shows. I mean, Han calls Lando calls Han.
Lando calls him that.
Yes.
You old
pirate.
Yeah. I didn't realize it was so derogatory, but I can kind of see it that way now.
Right. Well, sure. When you look at Urkel and Vane and this Chalt guy.
Yeah. Han Solo does not want to be lumped in with this bunch of ne'er-do-wells.
Yeah. When you say pirate, you know what he's thinking? Han is thinking this guy right here, Chalt.
Chalt.
What are you calling a pirate?
Chalt. He might rival the Mog fan club for popularity.
But Ford said, not that Ford, our Ford, the showrunner, the creator, Christopher Ford. He says, and we've seen some awesome pirates in the animated shows. So this was something where both Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau were really excited to do more pirate stuff. So these pirates, Jim, seem like they're going to be a major fixture. I look at these guys as probably on the heels of our heroes throughout the series. That would be my guess.
Yeah. Yeah. These guys could be the main antagonists, and they would be representing that Shard character from The Mandalorian, right? They all worked for him. He looked like Barbossa.
Mossy. Right, he was mossy. Yeah. He looked like kind of like I think it was Barbossa in the Pirates of the Caribbean. But yeah, the big mossy guy.
Yeah, mossy man. So I think they all represent him. So he might be like the main bad guy, and all these other guys are antagonists, real thorns in the heels of our heroes. So it looks good to me, though. I mean, I get mad Star Wars vibes looking at this rogues gallery here. They and their environment and the lighting and everything just speaks Star Wars to me. Might be a little too dark, but I'm not going to nitpick already. The show hasn't been released. Wait for the after show.
And we've got another photo here of our hero, Jude Law.
Mm-hmm.
So, what's his name? I don't have his name in
Jod. Okay, his name is Jod Barada Jada. What is his name? I forget his name. Jodnod, son of a Jod. He's Jod.
I don't have it.
I don't either.
It's not even in the article.
Jod.
Jodna Nawwood.
That's what I said.
Yep, you got it.
In this photo from Entertainment Weekly, you see him and he's looking off into the horizon at something, and you see in the background the kids who the story is going to be focused on. These kids who get lost in another galaxy, and it looks like Jude Law is shopping at the same tailor that Lando Calrissian shops at. That's a very Lando type shirt he's wearing, don't you think? Doesn't that look like a shirt Lando was wearing?
I think it is Lando's shirt. I mean, it doesn't even look like it. I think it is. It's right out.
I mean, like Lando Calrissian wears Han Solo's clothes, and Jodnod Norwood wears Lando's clothes. Norwood, whatever. But you see, he also has that curved handle pistol, the blaster that resembles an old antique vintage handgun with a flintlock pistol and the wooden handle. It's with that curve. It's very old school, like something you would find 100-something years ago. Looking back at the early days of firearms and stuff. So, Jodnod Norwood. So, I mean, what does that tell you, though? Maybe the galaxy they end up in is a little less advanced than the Star Wars galaxy that we know
antique-y. Like, even in the context of Star Wars, there's an antique-y vibe to this blaster. signifying old. So I'm with you. If that's not the case, it seems strange because it's as our buddy Paul Bateman would say, a little off model. We haven't seen that type of handle. So like what you're saying, Jim, like there's got to be an explanation, an in-universe explanation.
Possibly. Yeah. Maybe they end up in some other part of the galaxy, remote and a little bit behind the times. I'm not sure. When you look at Urkel, though, he's decked out in some pretty hardcore technology. So
no doubt.
Hard to say. I mean, Star Wars did happen a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. So to really apply any sense of dates on a timeline at the end of the day is a futile effort. You know, you got the early days, you got the later days, you got these days, those days. It all happened a long time ago, though. I mean, how are we supposed to really measure that? So,
well, it's funny that just last week, you know, we've got this on YouTube. So if you haven't listened to the show, you can go over to YouTube and check it out. We got a video up because a listener had sent in some photos, some scans of an old high school yearbook that featured Dave Filoni. Dave C. Filoni, his senior yearbook. And in one of those photos, there was a picture of Dave Filoni as a goalie in a hockey game. And
that's right.
Funny enough, Watts talks about how Dave is their goalkeeper. He says, what's great about working at Lucasfilm is that they'll let you know if you've gone outside the boundaries. Dave Filoni is our goalkeeper. He actually is a great hockey player, but he's also a figurative goal player. We'll come up with ideas of things that we like, and then he'll be like, actually, maybe it's this, or, oh, we already did something like that somewhere else. And you always end up with a bunch of other episodes of Star Wars to go watch and things to go read. So Dave gives them homework. Not only is the goalkeeper, but he's also the teacher that gives you the homework. He says you feel like you can safely explore things creatively without making huge canonical mistakes. And he gets both sides of that because he did that same kind of mentoring under George Lucas. So he gets that kind of thing. I want to make a whole new kind of a Jedi, and then someone being like, okay, hold on. A lot of people have thought about this, so let's do it the right way. So Dave's been there, done that, bought the T-shirt, so he's the goalkeeper for that.
Very true. And it kind of shines a little insight on the Lucasfilm decision 10 years ago to abolish the old expanded universe and start fresh with canon. Because imagine the minefield that Dave Filoni would have to navigate if it was going back all the way through the beginning of the expanded universe, which really officially began with the first Timothy Zahn novel, the Heir to the Empire. Mm-hmm. That's really when the modern age of canon kicked off. And George Lucas always made it very clear that there is a very thick line between the published canon and his canon. Mm-hmm. It can be cherry picked from, but it shouldn't be considered to be gospel, the gospel according to George. And then with Lucasfilm blowing up the expanded universe, which shocked a lot of people and rocked a lot of people's worlds, it would have really been an impossible minefield to navigate through for a guy like Dave Filoni, who is now pretty much the arbiter of all Star Wars canon. That's the position Dave is in right now. And sure, he taps the story group and all of that stuff when he has hardcore questions, but it all gets filtered through Filoni now. And so it's kind of cool to hear that the Skeleton Crew creators are discussing that openly, because we know this show was shot a few years ago and has been delayed, and it went through production issues and everything. Maybe one of those production issues was Dave Filoni's appointment to the guy who had creative control of all Star Wars storytelling. Maybe that's what put the Skeleton Crew on a little bit of a reset, so it could go through the Dave Filoni filter first. the timeline kind of
Filoni
matches
filter. I like
that.
that.
The Filoni filter. So that's what we might be dealing with here, as far as why Skeleton Crew got delayed. But I'm excited that it's going to be hitting us in a couple of months. I'm excited for the after shows, and I always relish the opportunity to get fresh Star Wars live action storytelling, because that's what it's all about.